The Mobile County Public School System presents Homeroom with Nancy Pierce.
Hi, and welcome to Homeroom. I'm Nancy Pierce, Public Relations Supervisor for the Mobile County Public School System. Have you heard the terms Common Core? It has been talked about a lot, and you've probably read about it in the newspaper. Well, we want you to really understand what Common Core is all about. There's another name for it, which you'll hear in just a moment. But I have two incredible ladies here to tell us all about Common Core, and I guarantee when you understand it and how it will help your children, you're going to love it. Joining me today are Martha Peak, Superintendent of the Mobile County Public School System, and Karen Moore, who is Interim Chief Academic Officer. Good to have you both here.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Little tag teaming, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so I always call it Common Core, I guess because I've heard that term so often, but there's another name for it.
It's actually the Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards in Alabama. Little bit variation on Common Core. Alabama has some of its own standards that have been added to it, and so this is all part of our State Superintendent, State Board of Education's Plan 2020 for Alabama. So it's Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards.
Why did they go, why do we do this? Why does Alabama and almost all the other states are doing it too? What's the reason?
Well, I think really the major reason is to levelize the playing field for all students within the United States. What this does is it provides the same learning expectations for all students across the United States.
Well, that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. You know, the governors first came together throughout the United States in their organization and began calling for this to take place. Then the chief state academic officers, that would be all the state superintendents of education or whatever they're called in other states, came together and said, yes, this makes sense. You know, we live in a very small world now where people travel, they relocate very quickly now. And so to have common standards across the United States that facilitated that, and also, as Mrs. Moore was saying, to levelize the playing field, that what's being done in one state has the same value as doing in another state.
So if I lived in Alabama and then I moved to Illinois, the same standards, there would be the same standards.
Very similar, yes.
Okay, or very similar. Not all states have adopted this, have they? I was thinking there were a couple that had not.
45 of us states
45.
have actually adopted.
Okay. What's the pushback been? Because there has been pushback in Alabama and evidently with those 5 other states.
I think the pushback has just been simply a misunderstanding of how the standards originated, where they got started, that these are not federal standards that are being imposed on states, but this was actually the states coming together because education is a function of the states, and so it came from the states. So I think there's been confusion that it's been mandated by the federal government, and I think that's been the pushback.
Well, a lot of people don't want the government to tell us what to do, and that, of course, in education too, that we should be able to decide this ourselves. As far as our political officers, were they pretty much on board right away in Alabama?
Alabama took some time to study it, to be very thoughtful about what they were doing, and then saw that this was something that would increase the academic expectations for our students, give our students more of an opportunity to explain what the knowledge is that they had gained through mathematics, and reading is where we are right now in it, and to apply knowledge and skills more. So Alabama was thoughtful about it, but then saw the benefits. I think one of the things that anytime there's change, there's always a question mark.
Sure.
Change is hard, but I think that careful study is very important. And here in Mobile County Public School System, we've looked at the standards very, very carefully. We see that these are standards that are very much common across the nation in reading, mathematics. It'll go into other subject areas, but are standards that our students need to know and that they need an in-depth understanding of the academic components. We've not found anything controversial in any of the standards. So we certainly are moving along with the state recommendation for the Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards.
Now, we started last year with math, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And how did that go?
Actually, it was quite bumpy. And
Which
I think
any new thing, any change will be, of course.
And I think that's because we really needed to experience the process and go through and support our teachers and our students. And always, whenever you're going into something new, there's that margin of error and that time that you work through it. But it's really leveled out, and our students are beginning to grasp the information and to use it in a meaningful way.
Have you noticed that there's also been more of a, I guess you'd say, an approval rating among the parents too?
I think that the verdict may still be out. I think it's because it is so new. The general information with the College and Career Ready standards, the content's the same. That what happens is that what we expect students to do with the information. That's the change or the difference that we're seeing. And I'm not sure that our parents have really realized the differences there. But it's really all of the very same content. We're just asking students to think more critically, to use more reasoning, to use the information to solve problems, and to reason more than we've ever asked them before.
So when the three of us were in elementary school, middle school, junior high, that's what we called it, and high school, we didn't do this, did we?
No, we did
Not that much.
We did a lot of memorization.
Oh, yes.
And regurgitation of information.
Right.
And that is the exact opposite of what we're asking of our students now. We're asking them to have that basic conceptual understanding, and then we're asking them to be able to apply the information to solve problems.
So why? Why do we do that? Why don't we do just memorization?
Well, we're in a world now that demands action and demands problem solvers, communication, thinkers. One of the greatest needs that we hear from business and industry is that you need people who can think on their feet, who can work together to discuss problems, but then can apply knowledge and solve those problems as they're working, because it's a very fast-paced world. I heard somebody use the term, it's a precise world now, that we demand precision, and you have to be able to make those critical decisions in whatever phase of work that you're working in. Certainly when we talk about college and career readiness, that is demanding a higher level of thinking and an application of knowledge like we've never seen before.
And so this doesn't deal just with college, it deals with career readiness also, because as we know, and we talked about this many times, not everyone is going to go to college for one reason or another. And so everybody needs to be ready to either go on to a career or go on to college and then go on to a career. So what you talked about the industry. So the industry is behind this. Have you had any pushback?
Business and industry is definitely behind this. All of the National Business Council, Alabama Business Council, all are behind this because they see it's the application of skills. It's us being much more aggressive thinkers, problem solvers, and moving ahead with all of the technology that we have. One day I was at one of our business centers, and they were talking about the need in cabinet making, that you have to be able to get something within 1/64th of an inch, that precise with what you're doing in order to make fits and that kind of thing. And you have to understand the fractions, how to manipulate numbers and all in order to apply that to what you're doing. So in all of these things, we've got to have a deeper understanding of the skills that must be applied.
And now this year we added reading, or reading, correct.
Yes.
Do you think that was a little easier because the teachers had already been through the math?
Probably so, and probably because the skills and standards in reading or repetitive. We just increase the level of reading level more so each year, but the skills actually repeat themselves.
And so it will probably get easier every time we add a different one.
Probably.
We need to take a quick break right now, but we're going to come back and talk more about what kind of problems we're really specifically talking about, so that everybody will understand exactly what this is all about. So we'll be right back. Don't you two go away, and you come back to stay with us.
Nationwide, an average of 24 children die each year.
And another 17,000 are injured in bus-related accidents.
Many of these can be prevented. The safety of our children comes first.
For the safety of our future, obey all traffic laws related to school bus safety.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
For me, it started back in 1942 when my family moved to Mobile, and I began my high school career at Murphy High School. Today, it's so important to be able to ingrain in yourself what are you going to do in future life, and you need to be prepared. And so subsequently, everything at Murphy was very important in my life, and so it was instrumental in preparing me for future life and future profession that I wanted to be in.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them. Just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
Nationwide, an average of 24 children die each year.
And another 17,000 are injured in bus-related accidents.
Many of these can be prevented. The safety of our children comes first.
For the safety of our future, obey all traffic laws related to school bus safety.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back to Homeroom. I'm Nancy Pierce, and I have two special guests with me. We're talking about core curriculum in the state of Alabama and also throughout the country. Joining me once again, Martha Peak, the superintendent of the Mobile County Public School System, and Karen Moore, who is the interim chief academic officer. So it's good to have you stay with us for this, talking about this. Once again, it's core curriculum, but there's another name in Alabama.
Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards, which is a little bit of a variation of the Common Core, but all built around the Common Core, except Alabama was very thoughtful about it, went through, there were still some standards that were pertinent to Alabama that needed to be in there, so that's why it's called.
It sounds like ours is even a little more, not difficult, I don't want to say difficult, but more encompassing, just has more components maybe than other states might.
It has a couple more standards in it that were very important to the teachers and the administrators who came together to look at the Common Core standards and determine the curriculum. You know, each state's curriculum is determined by each state and must be approved and voted on by the State Board of Education. So that's where you've heard some back and forth about keeping the Common Core or the Alabama College Career Readiness Standards in, or having the State Board of Education repeal those. But in every subject area, there is a course of study approved by the Alabama State Board of Education.
So last year we started math, this year it was reading. What will we get next? Has that been decided, or are we waiting, just really making sure that we get into the math and the reading?
I think at this point we're really focusing on the math and the reading.
Are they combined at all, Karen?
Actually, we integrate those. Reading is integrated very closely into math and math into the reading. It makes for it challenges us to be proficient in both of those academic areas.
Which makes great sense. Great sense.
And it challenges students in such a way that we've not challenged them in the past.
If parents want to know, if they want to look at something, maybe they haven't seen their children's work, and they want to see what kind of problems their children are doing, where can they go? What should they do to find out, to take a look at this?
Well, there's so many resources out on the internet now, but our schools have done a wonderful job in providing information to our parents. In fact, that was one of the sessions that was offered during the Parenting Day in October. But our schools have excellent examples, as well as the Division of Academic Affairs. We're certainly available and ready to share information as well. So we have examples and information that's available for them if they'd like to see it.
Well, we had talked during the break too about that. You said that the math problems aren't just simply 3 plus 4. There's a lot of reading involved, and so it's difficult to present a problem right now to our parents that are watching and just to the whole audience. So this is why it's important for them to go ahead and check somewhere. Get on the internet, of course. You can always find so many things there. We have things on our own website.
Absolutely.
So it's always good to go to mcpss.com, and you can find examples there too. What are you hearing from parents?
Parents are always, concerned about curriculum changes, and we've had some inquiries, but I think our schools have done a good job of letting parents know what is involved with the Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards. So we've had, some. More than anything, I think the debate has been at possibly the state level than it has been locally, because we're actually the practitioners, and I think that when people see the standards being implemented, a full year of math that was implemented, now moving into reading, everyone is getting used to that shift and that thinking. Of course, when you've been around as long as I have, you know that about every 7 years you experience a change in the curriculum and instructional methods that you're using. So there's some of this that's not familiar because it is much higher level and more in depth, but then there's some things that parents recognize also from the days they were in school, where it was more hands-on learning, more project-based learning, and that's what the Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards is moving back to. But I also think that our parents are very wise, and they know that this is a very competitive world, that if their children are going to be well prepared to go into college or into the workforce, both very valuable options, that they've got to have standards they've got to reach standards at the highest level, and they've got to have a deep conceptual knowledge of what they're learning. Throughout the United States of America, there's an emphasis right now in science, engineering, technology, and mathematics, that being the door to the future. And all of that is very demanding on a very, very good knowledge of reading, language arts, and mathematics.
Of course, of course. What about the students? Are they accepting? How are they? It seems like students are more accepting a lot than parents. Are you getting good feedback from the students?
I think our students are thrilled with the change, and one of the major reasons is that the learning now seems to be more relevant, and they seem to be more engaged and more interested. That's a real advantage for any student, learner, or teacher when students are interested. So I think that they truly are interested, and I think they see how they can use this in their own lives.
In their own lives. We'll
Absolutely.
talk a little bit more when we come back. We have a few more minutes, so stay there, and we will be right back. We'll see you soon.
I went to Murphy High School. In fact, to this day, my blood bleeds blue and gold. To this day, some of my best friends are the high school football buddies that I had. We really had a wide array of classes available to us. All of my future relates back to the foundations that were given to me by the wonderful teachers and principals that I had when I was a kid.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Switch to Energy Star light bulbs, and you'll realize just how much cash you are really burning through. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back to Homeroom. I'm Nancy Pierce. We've been talking about core curriculum, and we do have another name for that, which our superintendent, Martha Peak, will tell us again. Joining me today are Martha Peak, superintendent, and Karen Moore, who is the interim academic officer. So once again, tell me again, you would think that by now I would be able to remember this name, but
Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards.
Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards. Okay, and we don't have an acronym for that? Education East, no?
CCRS.
CCRS, okay,
right.
I can remember that one. You know, right before the break, we were talking about the relevance, that students see the relevance. Do you remember in school where you'd sit there and think, why am I doing this?
Absolutely.
I remember a lot of that. I thought, I will never, ever use this. And a lot of the things I have never used. But that's changing.
It is. That's the connection. That's the hook for our students now. They're seeing the relevance. They're seeing the reason that they need to learn this information so that they can use it in their own lives.
Well, it is so important. I mean, otherwise, why would you even care? Why would you want to do your homework? Why would you want to do these projects? If there's no relevance, to me, a lot of students would just think this is a waste of time. I need something that I can use, that I can learn from, that I can pass on, and it will help me either in college or in my career.
Well, that goes right into, you know, me saying once again that in Mobile County Public Schools, we just don't have 3 R's, which is reading, writing, and arithmetic, the core curriculum. But we have 6. And we add to that the relevance, the rigor, and the relationship. The rigor being the higher level standards that we're working for our students to master. The relevance, a lot of emphasis on career education, and that means being aware of what careers are there. What do you need to learn in order to be well prepared? And in order to do that, what education level must you reach? Certainly, everyone graduating from high school is the first step. And then the relationships, that you're involved with people who are mentoring you along the way. And we say learning begins at home, education in the Mobile County Public School System, and then that contributes to our quality of life. But to pull all of those together with those 6 R's to say we want the very best for our students. We want them to be competitive, whether it's with students in California or students in Rhode Island or in the south part of Texas or in the woods of Minnesota. We want our students to be there, be competitive, and have the skills.
That's why this is so important, and it really does seem to be doing well. I've heard good things about it. I've heard not really bad things, but more questions, and that's why I wanted to speak with you today about it. And we talked about how people can call your office, can look on our website, mcpss.com, to find out more information. And I just think the more people know, the better it will be.
Well, one of the things I think that we've got to decide overall is that we're past the debate stage. From the school system standpoint, we've invested 2 years now in implementing the Alabama College and Career Readiness Standards. That's not only in teacher time for them to become familiar, but professional development, also materials and supplies. So we need to move on and make sure that we're all aware of what's being taught in the classroom, that it's standards and skills that our students need to function in today's world. And I think always being mindful that we want to make sure that the standards being taught are those we want our students to learn. We've seen nothing that indicates that there's anything different than we've been teaching in the past, that we're just doing it at a higher level and expecting our students to reach that level. The one thing I have no doubt about, our students in the Mobile County Public School System can reach those standards, and they're doing it each and every day. They have to adjust, as well as the teachers making an adjustment in the way it's being instructed. But I think the time for the debate is past now. We need to move on and do it well.
Absolutely.
Understand it, and I think the understanding of the concept, the whole thing, will help us move on, all of us move on, the parents, anybody that it deals with it. You talked a little bit just about career readiness, and I think, what did you want to be when you grew up? What did both of you, when you were young, when you were in elementary school, did you want to be in education? I wanted to be an astronaut.
Well, in my family, everybody was educators, and
so
everybody
that was you.
in the Mobile County Public School System, so it was just a natural fit for me.
How about you?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Nobody wanted to be an astronaut. Okay. Well, my daddy and I were going to go to the moon, but that never happened. But I think now with everything that's happening with the Mobile County Public School System, with our career readiness, with all of our programs to get children interested in different careers, is so amazing that you don't have to wait until you go to college, maybe, and you're in your 3rd year of college, and all of a sudden you realize, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that.
Nancy, you can't afford to do that
No,
anymore,
you can't.
because the tuition is such that you have to go in with a plan, you have to execute that plan, and you have to move on through it, because tuition and all is such that you can't afford to change your mind and make other decisions.
And we don't start in high school. We start long before then.
Elementary school.
Elementary. I mean, that is amazing. That is truly.
Career awareness in elementary, exploration in middle, and preparation in high school.
It is truly amazing. And we do have signature academies in high school. We're going to add more next year. I believe it's five new high schools. We'll be adding our signature academies. And how have they been? We've got about 1 minute. How have they done so far? This is the first year for our signature academies.
It's exciting.
Is it?
It absolutely is. The students are enjoying not only the hands-on activities, but the focus in their career interest areas.
I know I've heard some of the students say how wonderful it is, and what a way to really understand and focus on what you want to do. And we want our students to graduate, to be successful. We'd love to have them stay in Mobile, but if they don't, we want them, wherever they are, when somebody says, where did you get your education? We got it in the Mobile County Public School System.
Well, if we don't define that and provide it, then college and career readiness is just a term, but we owe it to our students to make sure that there's meaning behind that, and that they do leave us college and career ready, and it's their choice, that they're well educated. Education, it starts with us.
It starts
in the Mobile
with
County
us.
Public Schools.
It starts with us, and there has been a switch that not everyone's going to go to college. Not everybody wants to go to college. Not everyone can, but they now have the options to go into a career, to go ahead and think of that path. And that to me is amazing. We are out of time. I'm so glad you could join us. Remember to go to our website to find out more information. And will you come back and talk some more?
Sure.
Both of you?
We'll think about it. Sure we will. We love coming and talking with you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for watching and for listening.